beautiful morning here, and I have a day off. So of course that means I'm going to go into the studio, going to be working with some oil pastels, and I think I'm going to be doing a video later on oil pastels depicting light and shadow. But how about some breakfast? And this is a special day actually. This is my daughter's birthday. And I was looking through my Pop It in the Toaster Oven cookbook. And there's actually a recipe that she wrote many years ago called Apple Incredibles. And I'll just read you a little bit from the recipe. My daughter and I crafted this recipe several years ago, and we were housebound after Boston had been blanketed by a record-breaking snowfall. We surveyed the pantry and came up with some apples, raisins, and pecans. We began making an apple cake and decided muffins would be nice for her school lunchbox. My daughter was quite sure that apple slices inserted into the muffins would cook properly and be absolutely delicious, sprinkled with raisins and pecans. She was right. Oddly enough, here I am with not all of the ingredients, and I'm going to have to substitute some things. Instead of raisins, I'm going to be doing craisins. And I don't have a whole apple. I had half an apple, so here's the thin slices there. I also don't have pecans, but I do have ground walnuts, just like that snowy day in Boston. So now I'm going to show you how to put this together and the ingredients that I've assembled. But first of all, I'm going to preheat my toaster oven to 400 degrees. Okay, so I have all the ingredients assembled, and that would be the thinly sliced apple pieces, and that is a peeled and cored apple and just very thin slices. Then I have here a beaten egg, and here a half a cup of skim milk. Then I have 2 tablespoons of ground walnuts here, and I have a quarter of a cup of margarine here, then 2 cups of unbleached flour, and actually this I did with a dry measure and then put it in this liquid measure cup. And you can see that if you use a regular measuring cup, like this is what you should be using for dry ingredients. And I put that in the liquid measure, and you can see that it's just a little bit short. So the measurements really are different for liquid and dry measure. Just keep that in mind. And then over here I have 2 tablespoons of craisins that are going to be substituting the finely chopped raisins. And then I didn't have any brown sugar, I just had white sugar. So that would be a quarter of a cup of sugar. And then I also have 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and I will be adding about, I think, to taste for me, a half a teaspoon of salt when I get it all mixed up. So now I'm going to mix up all the ingredients. I have my bowl here and my spoon. And these are going to go into a 6 muffin tin. And I have just gotten the little papers in there. You can, if you use a tin, you can also oil it and use it that way. I personally think these little liners are really worth it. Put all the ingredients in a bowl. This is the 2 cups of flour, teaspoon of baking powder, margarine, half a cup of sugar, in this case white sugar instead of brown, 2 tablespoons of the craisins, 2 tablespoons of ground walnuts substituting the pecans, 1 beaten egg, and a half a cup of milk. In this case, it's not skim, actually, it's 2% organic milk, which is really good, tasty stuff. Now, I'm not going to add the apples. They're going to go in when I get the batter mixed up and put them in the little muffin cups. But here is, last but not least, about a half a teaspoon of salt. And now I'm just going to mix it up really well. Now I'm just going to drop the batter in equal portions into these little liners. Then, last but not least, just pushing these little apple slices right into the batter here. So the toaster oven is up to temperature, 400 degrees, and the muffins are going to be going in for 25 minutes. I will test them with a wooden skewer to see if they are done. If the skewer comes out clean, then I know they're cooked. So there's the Apple Incredible muffins. They look great. It was 25 minutes at 400. Boy, that looks pretty good. They're hot, so the butter is melting nicely. How about the old taste test now? This is real butter. I think I can get away with it because the ingredients aren't very fattening at all. Craisins are a really nice addition. And they're just sweet enough, and the texture is really nice. And yes, the apples are cooked really well. It's almost a little bit like apple pie and a muffin. Happy birthday, Sam. Thanks for the Apple Incredibles recipe. Have a great birthday. I'll save the rest of these for your lunchbox.